Really, luxury is not necessarily about how expensive your house is. It's about what percentile in the market you are compared to the other homes around you.
A lot of times the Zillow metrics are very, very misleading. Just because it's fast-paced and active doesn't mean that everything is selling right away.
Some $1 million homes sit on the market for months, whereas others sell the first day on the market. When buyers are looking at homes on Zillow, it's like Tinder these days. Like they are in a swipe left, swipe right mentality. And sometimes if you leave the best pictures until the 50th or 60th photo on Zillow, you're gonna miss a lot of people that don't even get that far. When you're going on Zillow and your house is listed, published on the internet, that should not be your first time going through the feedback loop from buyers. You could have the best negotiator in the world as your real estate agent, but if they can't market your home properly and bring a buyer, the negotiation and the real estate expertise do not matter. How many people could your agent call up and get buyers in looking at that house without all the online marketing? That will tell you a lot about their network. Selling a luxury home is different. And if you've ever wondered why some $1 million homes sit on the market for months, whereas others sell the first day on the market, we're going to explain some of that in this video.
So the St. Louis luxury market has ranked nationally in the top 3 markets for several years now. But just because it's fast-paced and active doesn't mean that everything is selling right away.
So if you own a higher priced luxury home in the St. Louis area and you're considering selling, maybe you're debating it, we're going to break down some of the things to think about before you hire an agent, starting with why luxury sales are trickier than you think. By the way, I'm Jacob.
Hi, I'm Kelly.
Welcome to the Living St. Louis channel. The first thing you have to understand about the luxury real estate market is that it is harder than people think and it operates differently than lower priced markets. When you are in a higher price point than average, you're going to be dealing with oftentimes a smaller pool of buyers. So there's fewer people that can even buy the house you're trying to sell. And it's not about the quantity of showings. We're not trying to get as many showings as we can. It's about quality. Luxury buyers oftentimes are very discerning and very picky about being in certain neighborhoods, certain school districts, zip codes, or they're looking for homes with specific layouts, specific features, architectural styles, amenities. And so that just makes it even harder to find the right people who are willing and able to buy a luxury home like yours.
And a lot of times the Zillow metrics are very, very misleading. For example, we typically will say we want to see 10% of our views as saves. And we're looking for a certain number of thousands of views on a property to consider that property successful. When we're dealing with a luxury home or our higher end market, those statistics are somewhat skewed because we get a lot of people who are just viewing those properties out of casual interest. There are people who will just specifically go on Zillow to look at the $1 million plus homes for decorating ideas or just to dream about what one day they could potentially buy. So your Zillow metrics don't always transfer to successful marketing because those metrics can be very skewed.
You're talking about window shopping, $3 and $4 million homes. I do that all the time.
Hi, same.
But the point being, Zillow metrics suddenly aren't very reliable if you're selling a multi-million-dollar home because it doesn't mean very much. There are really 3 components of buyers you got to be thinking about how you're going to reach when you're selling your home. First, local. That's the obvious one. You live in St. Louis, you have an expensive house to sell in St. Louis. You're thinking, who in the St. Louis area is in the market to buy a house like mine? But the other 2 groups of buyers are the ones people tend to forget about. The second being national, right? Who are the people in other markets of the US who would be maybe in the market to buy? We get a lot of luxury buyers in that high price range who are relocating. They're executives for a big company, they're medical professionals, they're high net worth individuals that are being transferred from one city to another. And so you can't just market to the St. Louis region and expect to get the best results. You got to think about where are people coming to St. Louis from other markets. We've had buyers from other markets in the Midwest, Chicago, Milwaukee. We've had a lot from Texas, California, Florida, New England, Pacific Northwest. Those are some of the regions where we've noticed a decent amount of people transferring for different reasons, different jobs, different sectors, different companies. But think about the fact that there are going to be buyers coming to the area that do not live in St. Louis.
So the third component of that is a global reach, and that is what makes us so different.
Yeah, the fact that you could have a buyer coming into St. Louis from another country. We've had people from Australia, Germany, Singapore, Costa Rica. Those are the few that I can think of off the top of my head. But the point being, there are people that are going to be relocating from other countries. Again, whether it's for their job, for their family, sending their kids to college. There's lots of reasons. And that is a really big difference, I think, compared to the resale market in maybe lower price points, where oftentimes it might just be mostly people that are already local in St. Louis that are in the market to buy a $500,000 house in a certain neighborhood compared to a $3, $4, $5 million house that's more of like an executive estate.
And there are some challenges to helping people who are coming here from other countries. We have to often be available for video showings. And there's a lot of times a financial component that's a little bit complex because there's transfer rates on their money if they're coming from another country. So we have to be able to navigate more than just finding the right house when we are talking about marketing globally or even nationally to some of these people.
The foreign exchange is absolutely a big thing we work with, and there are oftentimes different financial, legal, and sometimes tax implications when we work with international buyers. To Kelly's point, we do a lot of virtual showings, and so sometimes with that, there might be a language barrier. There might be a really big time difference we're working with, and sometimes we do go through a lot of extra steps just to verify that someone is who they say they are and they can afford the houses we're trying to show them, when sometimes we're showing them houses and they're on the other side of the world. Another one of the really important things you got to know about the luxury market is that it is all 100% relative. So what that means is that what qualifies as a luxury home in the city of St. Louis is going to be a very different price threshold compared to what qualifies as luxury in Ladue or Frontenac. Really, luxury is not necessarily about how expensive your house is. It's about what percentile in the market you are compared to the other homes around you. Once you start to get into that upper 10th percentile of the market, that is usually when you are considered a luxury listing, when you are more expensive than 90% of the other homes in your area. Where does your home stand relative to what else is on the market? The number one thing your marketing has to do when you're selling a high-priced home is reach the right buyers in the right place. And so guess how we really market to a lot of buyers for our listings? It's actually this YouTube channel. There is a reason we put a lot of time, effort, and money into making these videos. And it is because they put us in front of a whole audience of clients that we would not have access to. To my point earlier, local, national, global, we reach a lot of national and global people through YouTube. Obviously local, yeah, but national and global are the two really big ones. And so when we make listing videos on this channel, or we do market videos on this channel to reach the right buyers and show the homes we're trying to sell, we do just that. Another thing that's very different when you're selling a higher priced home is that it's not abnormal to have longer time frames. Obviously, if you can sell your house in the first few days on market, that is wonderful. Luxury homes statistically take longer to sell. Again, in St. Louis, the luxury market right now is very active, very high paced, but generally and on average, the higher price the home, it could take longer to sell. And so what you got to remember too is that, again, the buyer pool is going to be much smaller. And so if you get less traction on your house with showings and interest in buyers, that doesn't necessarily mean right away that your home is overpriced. It just means you have to be more patient than sometimes sellers are in lower price points.
So it's also very hard for us to estimate how long it's going to take your house to sell. Some houses that sell in a day or that sell off market might have a very specific something that someone is looking for, like a pool, a golf course community. It might be on a lake. Those houses tend to sell very, very quickly and oftentimes off market through networking, where it might take a little bit longer to sell another house that doesn't have necessarily one of those specific features that somebody's looking for. So just because your neighbor's house sold in one day doesn't necessarily mean that yours is going to sell in one day. Or just because your neighbor's took 30 days doesn't mean that yours will take 30 days. If you have a specific feature that we can market, your house might sell faster. So it's just a case by case basis because we aren't necessarily comparing apples to apples in this price range. Each home is unique and has different features to highlight.
Yeah. And, over here at Gateway Realty Group, our real estate team, we are extremely driven by the data and the market comps, but it is harder to find apples to apples comps with higher priced homes. Oftentimes we're dealing with something that is a true one of one property. And so in cases like that, there really are no comparable sales we can look to say, okay, this house had these features at this price point and sold in X number of days. There are fewer comparisons like that we can draw. And so sometimes it is hard to say, this is the timeline we expect your house to sell.
You do have to be more patient in this category because we might capture a buyer the first week in the market, but it might take a little bit more time for a buyer in that luxury market because they are very specific. They are very discerning. And just because they don't choose your house doesn't mean there's something wrong with it. It just means it didn't check all of their boxes. You oftentimes do have to be a little bit more patient when you're in these luxury price ranges. And then sometimes houses surprise us. So we had a house in Forestel that we priced what we thought was a very aggressive price at $1.5 million. And we expected the potential that it could take a long time to sell. However, this property had some extremely unique features, even compared to the house across the street that was listed for $1 million. And we sold first day on the market. We did do extensive marketing highlighting the features of this home, but it just goes to show in the same neighborhood, you are going to get a different house that has to be marketed differently. Just because your neighbor sells for 1.5 doesn't mean you're 1.5. Mm-hmm. And an aggressive marketing strategy is very critical to these luxury homes.
Yep. Sold in one day for $50,000 over asking price.
50,000 over.
Important
True
to know
story.
That. Yeah. So understanding how the market operates differently is the first step to selling a luxury home. The second step is you have to really meet buyer expectations. First way we do that is the experience. Your home has to show really well. We focus a lot on the staging, the layout, the design to make sure that that really matches what buyers in that range and area are looking for. That might mean doing some updates or, doing some touch-ups to your home to make it more aligned with what is in style right now. And I mean, really, we want to make it a phenomenal experience from the first moment someone steps in your door to look at the house.
If you have highly stylized or highly personalized areas of your home, if we ask you to depersonalize or take those down a notch, it's not because we don't think your taste is exquisite. It's just because it is so personal and we need to make it more generic so that it looks like something that somebody else can imagine themselves living in.
And this is the same, advice that we'll give regardless of the price point. You have to declutter, depersonalize, do some light updates, but at higher price points, that just becomes much more important.
It does. The luxury buyer has to have a luxury experience in your home.
And so when we ask you to maybe change the wall colors or update the kitchen or the bathrooms to align better with what buyers are looking for, it's because sure, luxury buyers, they can absolutely afford to move in and do the work themselves and update the home. But what we're seeing is a lot of times they don't want to. They would rather move into it and have the home be move-in ready and pay a premium for it, sure. But that's the thing sometimes we notice is that they have the money, but they don't have the time or the desire to make those updates themselves, which means it's more important for you as a seller to make sure that your home is following, what's in style right now and what buyers are looking for to give you a better chance at selling it.
And when we are asking you to do these things, it's because we want to help you sell your home the fastest. And when you sell your home faster, you make more money.
The second really, really big way you have to meet buyer expectations and get a ready and willing buyer is the marketing of the property has to be top notch. It has to be dialed in every way because when you have, some of these just really unique and luxurious homes, our job is to convey that lifestyle. Are you on the water? Do you have a really nice pool and spa? Do you have amenities in your house that others don't? Are you on a golf course? Is there something specific about your neighborhood? Maybe it's gated. Other aspects of the home that would bring a buyer, we need to make those front and center in the marketing materials. And we're not just talking about the Zillow listing and the pictures and the description. We mean the print marketing, the videos on social media and YouTube. You could have the best negotiator in the world as your real estate agent, but if they can't market your home properly and bring a buyer, the negotiation and the real estate expertise do not matter.
And once you're on the market, you cannot go back on the market fresh. You are there and everybody knows your house is for sale. So it is our job as your realtor to market your home in the best possible position that we can. And we have to do that on day one. We have to come out of the gate running. The marketing materials help you secure a buyer as fast as possible. And your days on market start ticking the day you enter the market. We want to keep those days on market as short as possible. And the way that we do that is with impeccable marketing. And it's not just print materials, to Jacob's point. Your marketing online is more critical than anything else. And I think that is one of the things that we do the best.
And so there is really a lot of creative ways that we try to go about marketing, right? Sometimes it's about the actual pictures. We'll do specific drone shots from all different angles, taking pictures at sunset or sunup. Again, like I said, the amenities, showing the amenities of your house, the neighborhood it's in, what's nearby. If you're on the water, that's a bit. If you're on a golf course, another big thing. Acreage, another big selling point. Going along with that, if you have equestrian features, that is huge. We had this $2 million listing in Wentzville that had all of that. If you got a pool, if you got proximity to certain key areas, we want to show those in the marketing for your home, not just the home itself.
And that goes down to how we organize your photos online. Buyers, when they're clicking through pictures on the websites, if we don't capture their attention in the first 5 photos, they're on to the next. So it might seem odd the way that the photos are organized, but if you live on a lake, for example, the first picture of your house is not going to be just a generic front photo of your house. It's going to be a picture of your house showing its position on the lake. If you have a killer pool, the first picture of your house is not necessarily going to be a straight on shot of your exterior. It's going to show the house in proximity to the pool.
Drone picture like from above rather than from the ground, head on. Mm-hmm.
That house in Forestell that we were telling you about earlier in this video, it's beautiful from the front, and you can see that here. But when you see the shot overhead that shows this 3+ acre lot, that shows this incredible pool, that shows the detached garage, all of those features are highlighted in that photo. So we will organize these photos that highlight your house's best areas first. If you have an amazing chef's kitchen, we may show the front of your house first, and the next picture might be of your amazing kitchen. We don't necessarily organize them the way that you do a walkthrough tour, because we're also going to include a floor plan in your house with your Zillow showcase listing.
If you go on Zillow and start scrolling, you will 100% notice this. So many listings. In fact, probably the majority of listings will go front of the house from the outside and then go entryway and then living room, dining room, bedrooms. Like they go room by room and show 3 angles of the same room. And what we do with our clients is we say, let's pick out the top 5, 6, 7 core selling points of your home, and we're going to make those the first 6 or 7 pictures of your home. To Kelly's point, if your house has a badass pool or a really nice gym or a kitchen or master bathroom, that's going to be in the first couple pictures, because there is no reason it should take until the 50th picture to see the house has a pool or it's on the lake or it has a brand new kitchen, because you got to scroll through all the pictures you don't really care about. Like the front door, the entryway, the living room, the dining room. Sure, those are important, but we need to pull out the top 5 to 10 pictures that are the most important and make those the first thing someone's going to see when they scroll.
And that is so critical, because when we are selling luxury homes, we're not just selling the home. We're selling the lifestyle that goes with it. A lot of these homes will have putting greens. They'll have basketball courts. They're going to have a wine and cigar room. And we have to highlight that, because people will imagine themselves living that lifestyle. We have to convey that in the marketing.
The other thing too, you got to think about, like when buyers are looking at homes on Zillow, it's like Tinder these days. Like they are in a swipe left, swipe right mentality. And sometimes if you leave the best pictures until the 50th or 60th photo on Zillow, you're going to miss a lot of people that don't even get that far. Whereas if you just put all of that up front and show the top 10 most important pictures, they might be all over the place, to Kelly's point, when the first 10 pictures are, a drone shot and then the pool and then the gym and then the kitchen. You're going all over the place, but it's because we're trying to show the most important parts of that house rather than go in just chronological order, which is how a lot of agents, unfortunately, put pictures in the MLS.
And we have learned this through experience. So I can translate it to personal experience. I had a buyer. They were looking up to $2 million, and they absolutely wanted a house with a pool. And I found what I thought was the most special house for them. And to Jacob's point, the pool was the 40th picture. So I almost dipped out of that house because I never saw a picture of the pool.
It is that fast to lose people, and so there is no reason it should take that long to see whatever the key shot is, the pool, the lake, the drone shots. Put all of that up front.
And part of the package that we offer when you hire us as your agent is we know how to market your house. We have the photographers that know how to shoot all of the critical angles, because it's not necessarily a straight on shot of your kitchen that's going to be the best shot. We work with trusted professionals. They're going to help us highlight your house in the best possible way. We have experience selling in this price point. We can show you dozens of homes that we have sold in the luxury market. We know how to do this.
We have a reach that's taken over 5 years to build on this channel. We started in 2020, and as a marketer, you cannot recreate that reach overnight. No amount of money on paid ads, Google ads, social media ads, TikTok ads, you cannot compare that to the reach that we have by having a trusted audience that has gotten to know us over the last 5 years, of people that watch our videos from literally all corners of the world. Like, we've had reach outs from countries I haven't even heard of before sometimes. Like, we have gotten some very niche, very specific buyers that have come through this channel because of a specific listing video or a specific thing we talked about.
And it's also very important to note that we have grown this channel organically. We do not advertise it. This is not something that we promote, but we have grown this channel immensely, and the reach is out there just for people who are looking to buy and sell homes.
And here's one thing I will say. We do not do listing videos for every listing we have. We will pick a couple, but sometimes the timeline doesn't work out, or the sellers are concerned about privacy. There's a lot of reasons. So the listing tours you see on our channel are a fraction of the business that we do. And so if you're looking for some creative thinkers when it comes to selling real estate, please get in touch with us. We'd love to work with you. Call us, text us, email us. We'd love to talk more about your situation, see what we can do for you. Let's talk about off-market sales in the luxury market, because this is kind of the hidden side of luxury real estate that you don't always hear about. And that is, sometimes when we list a home on the market, it's actually that we've been shopping it around off-market for months up until it goes live on Zillow, getting feedback from other agents, their buyers, some of our own buyers, and making adjustments along the way. We're changing the staging, the design, the colors of the room, maybe some of the counters and cabinets. We are going through multiple cycles of feedback before we put the house on the market, because we are oftentimes shopping it off market. And sure, absolutely, sometimes we sell the house off market before it even hits Zillow. And that's one way that we give our buyers more options, but it's also how we incorporate a lot of feedback for our sellers before you go on Zillow. Luxury buyers are discerning. They are looking for sometimes very specific styles or qualities in a home, certain amenities. And sometimes we'll get a buyer coming through because of one specific thing we said in a video about a house we're showing. That's just an example. But we have buyers that are looking for really specific styles, layouts, design features, materials. There are a lot of things that go into what luxury buyers look for. And so you've got to work with an agent who does both. You can't just work with someone who sells all the luxury homes but doesn't work with buyers, because we work with both. And so we understand what buyers look for because we work with buyers all the time. And so that makes us better marketers when we're on the listing side selling your home.
And some of these buyers have come to us because of our relationship with other agents. I have one buyer who has found nothing that's available on the market, and he specifically came to us to see if we could help him find something off market. And we've been able to secure 2 listings off market that we will be showing to him when he comes in town. So part of the reason that he did choose us is because our ability to network with other agents in the market. If we didn't necessarily have a listing that was ready to go, we were able to find him something through somebody else who did. It's important to know that our team's broker is Berkshire Hathaway, and Berkshire Hathaway is a nationally known, very well-respected company. And internally, our office in St. Charles County has over 200 agents just in that office. So we are able to put your listing in front of those 200 agents immediately before we even hit to market, to see if, 1, we could secure a potential buyer, and 2, to get feedback from other experienced, trusted agents so that we might want to make some tweaks to your listing.
Shopping your house off market is even more important when you're in that luxury price range, because when you're going on Zillow and your house is listed, published on the internet the first day on the market, that should not be your first time going through the feedback loop from buyers. Our goal is that by the time we list a house on the market, especially when it's in the luxury range, but doesn't have to be in the luxury range, is that we have shopped it around and done showings and agent open houses and gotten a lot of feedback to let us change the marketing and the listing before we put it out there on blast for the whole world to see.
So, another reason that these off market sales are important to the luxury market is that oftentimes we are dealing with prominent people. They might be celebrities, they might be athletes, they might be very well known local business people, and they may not necessarily want to put their house out there to the general public until and unless they've had an opportunity for us to try to network with other agents and procure a buyer before they have to hit the open market.
Yeah, I mean, it is not uncommon for sellers to not want a sign in the yard, or sometimes they don't want certain rooms shown in the listing or certain interior pictures. And so stuff like that is where we have to get creative, and especially, off market becomes a really big deal when you don't want the whole internet seeing what your house looks like. Because even after it sells, yeah, you can take down the pictures and delete the listing and stuff, but once it's out there, it is out there.
All of the agents on the Gateway Realty Group team are luxury certified, which means that we have been through specific training and specific classes that are tailored to that luxury market. So we know how to talk the talk and we know how to walk the walk. A certification is just additional education. And some of us have been certified through multiple channels in that luxury category. So you can be assured that you are hiring somebody that has the experience, that has the knowledge, and that actually has a certification to work with luxury buyers and luxury sellers.
By far, the number one thing you got to be asking your agent when you're interviewing, whether it's us or not, obviously we'd love to be your agents, but whoever you end up hiring and wanting to go with, you need to be asking them what their track record is with selling luxury homes in a similar price range as yours, how much experience they have with off-market sales, how big their network is of other agents. Like, let's say you didn't want your house on the MLS, no Zillow, no Redfin listing. How many people could your agent call up and get buyers in looking at that house without all the online marketing? That will tell you a lot about their network of buyers and sellers, but also other agents and other brokers who can help put together that deal.
I think what sets us apart is that we don't see other agents as our competition. They're our compadres. We're all working toward the same goal, which is to put somebody in a house, whether that's for us to sell yours or for us to help a buyer buy a house. It's a common goal. So we pride ourselves on trying to have excellent relationships with other agents, even in other brokerages, so that we can pick up the phone and say, hey, I've got a buyer. They're looking for a $2 million house, preferably on or near a golf course. Do you have anything that checks those boxes? And those agents have a relationship with us and they are willing to share those with us because they've had a good experience with us in the past. So you only get one chance to hit the market. And it is so critical that you hire the right professional to help you get the job done. It's not just about networking. It's not just about marketing. It's not just about knowledge. It's not just about experience. It's about all of those things combined. And it doesn't matter if someone has sold a house in your neighborhood or not. It matters if somebody has experience in the luxury market and if they have a proven track record of selling houses in that luxury market. And that is something that we very, very proudly can offer you.
So if you are considering a higher priced home somewhere in the St. Louis region and you want some help with pricing, timing, your strategy, we would love to be a resource for you. We'd love to share our reach, our tools, our strategy with you. Give us a call, send us a text, or send us an email. We'd love to just have a conversation, get to know you better, and see how we can help you out.
We're happy to help, and real estate is all we do.
It's our bread and butter. So thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.
Bye.